guys in the dark.
This is not only my scariest experience, but also it was the time that I almost got my now boyfriend murdered because of a shitty sexual innuendo. I used to work at a Pizza Hut in a pretty crappy area of Tucson. Think lots of trailer parks, crappy apartments, and shitty duplexes. Most people were on drugs and welfare, so tips were very rare. That one evening, a man had ordered a large meat lover's pizza with extra sausage, and another driver took his delivery. Before the driver even came back, the man already called the store complaining his pizza was so spicy that it was inedible, and that he would like a new one. Well, it was likely impossible the pizza was actually spicy, and this dude was probably just wanted free food. We obliged, and handed the driver a new pizza when he returned to take back to the customer. Well, this did not appease the guy. Over the span of a couple of hours, the man called 2 more times, insisting that the pizza was way too spicy. He couldn't eat it. We kept bringing him new pizzas, but this time we're taking back the old ones for quality checks, when really we were just tossing them in the dumpster in hopes that this guy would just give up his scam. Finally, it got to be around 11 p.m., with 1 hour left until we were closing, and the man had once again called back saying that he cannot eat his pizza, that he needed a new one. At this point, we suspected that there was something seriously wrong with the guy, and no one wanted to go out there in the middle of the night to confront him. So the manager informed him that there was unfortunately no way that we would appease him, but if he came down to the store tomorrow, that he would be happy to issue him a refund. We thought that that was the end of it. I was not a closer that night, so I was crashing out at the front register when a beater truck had screeched into the parking lot and parked right at the front door. A rather disheveled and overweight man had came in holding a pizza. He put the pizza on the counter and informed me that he's here for his refund. I called the manager. While I was still up front calculating my cash for the night, the man opened up the box and started talking to me. "Dude, this pizza is so freaking spicy. You gotta try this. It's unreal." Someone had to have been putting something spicy in there or some shit. I just awkwardly let him know that I believed him, and I moved out of the way so that the manager could issue him the refund. As this is going on, the man started getting more agitated. He pushed his pizza towards the manager, repeating, "Man, you gotta try this pizza. You gotta believe me. It's so spicy." All the while jabbing his pointer finger into the pizza and mashing it up into a disgusting mess. My manager kept telling him that it's fine. He believed him. But this dude remained insistent and shoved the pizza towards my manager. Finally, the manager just let him know, "No, I do not want to eat that pizza. And now I need to ask you to leave." The man then took his pizza and then walked out. During all this, the waitress, cook, and other 2 drivers had come up to the front to see what all the yelling was about, especially with this guy yelling about spicy pizza. The other driver, who I had a bit of a crush on, was standing right next to me. Once the man got into his truck and started to pull away, I turned to the driver and say, "Hey Kevin, you want to try my pizza?" And everyone just burst out laughing. Our laughter was short-lived though, as the truck screeched to a halt and zoomed back into the parking space. Tweaker Man stormed back into the store. He was seriously pissed off and out for blood. He began screaming at my fellow driver. "Do you think that something is fucking funny? Am I funny to you? Are you seriously laughing at me? You think that this pizza bullshit is fucking funny?" Everyone was dead silent as my fellow driver sputtered along trying to get a word in, but the man wouldn't have it. He climbed onto the counter and started screaming, "I'll teach you to laugh at me. Let's go outside right now. I'll teach you. I'll fucking teach you a lesson." Now for context, this man had to be about 40 or 50. My now boyfriend was 22 at the time, and he was very thin. This was frightening. My manager managed to coerce the man off the counter and get him outside, immediately locking the door. The man screamed at the door for a few seconds before retreating to his truck and pulling away, so we thought that that was the end of it, until the truck began circling the building with a fucking gun being pointed out at the driver's window. Everyone's immediately hit the deck. The waitress started sobbing, and my manager blindly reached up to try to grab the phone off the counter to call 911. Every once in a while, we peeked up, and this insane man was still circling. When he finally stopped, everyone had crept onto the back of the store and to peek out the window. Dude had parked next to the driver cars, waiting for one of us to come out to the delivery. The dude stuck around for about 15 minutes before taking off. The cops, of course, didn't show up until like an hour later, because it's Tucson, and they suck. I had to sneak out before they came in, hoping that I wasn't going to get shot. The very next day, the man repeatedly called the store to scream at people, claiming that we attacked him, threw crushed red peppers in his eyes. Since we had his address and his phone number in the system, cops finally picked him up. We didn't hear from him again after that. He also got himself a nice place on the Do Not Deliver list. Thank God for that. I once got chased like you see in the movies. A little information about me. I'm an 18-year-old male student. To make a little money, I part-time delivery drive as a pizza driver at night and on the weekends. Note that I ride a moped to make deliveries, so my top speed is about 50 kilometers per hour, which is about 31 miles per hour. So here's the story. It's a warm summer night. Sun has almost set, so in some directions, visibility was very poor. I know the street I was on very well, and knew narrow roads lay ahead of me. What I didn't know about was a car coming at me from the opposite direction, at a high speed with its headlights off. I simply didn't see them because of the sun blocking my eyesight. We almost had a top-speed frontal collision there, and with me being on a moped, I would have at least suffered from heavy injuries. I managed to dodge the car at a very last moment, and didn't hesitate a second to throw the good old middle finger at them for not turning on their headlights in those conditions. I still remember the car. It was a bright blue Fiat with black rims. So a few days later, I spot the exact same car, waiting at a yield sign for me and some other vehicles to pass by. I was on my way back to the pizza place, and I had to make a left into the same street that they were on. Time for me to mess around for a bit. Extremely slow. I passed the front end of this car, and as I passed the driver's window, I noticed that it was rolled down a little bit. I peeked inside, and I saw the biggest, most terrifying-looking gym rat wearing the douchiest sunglasses ever. Next to him was a beautiful blonde girl. So the guy immediately starts swearing and calling me out. I was like, "Bitch, come at me." I hear myself say it, and instantly regret doing so, because this guy was not a guy that I wanted to get in a fight with. I'm a pretty tall dude, but this dude, hell no. So I got away from that car as fast as I could. But a few moments later, I shit you not, the Fiat appears in my mirror. The guy was now chasing me. I was driving as fast as I could, but with him being in a car, he could easily top that. There was a roundabout coming up, which I knew I could take so easily while doing full throttle. The car, of course, could not. This slowed him down for a little bit. But it only took the guy a matter of seconds to get to my back end. He was now tailgating me, and I was scared as shit. This wasn't enough for him, and he decided to drive right next to me. Passenger window was rolled down, shouting at me to stop so that we could talk. Well, I was not going to do that. He was closing in on me, the girl looking at me the whole time. The car and me almost touched sides. At this point, I saw the golden opportunity, a side street on my right. I yanked the brake of the rear tire and power slid myself onto the street. It wasn't my intention to lock my rear wheel, but I can assure you, that looked pretty cool. But this definitely wasn't the end, as the guy saw it coming and slammed on the brakes too. Once again, he was right behind me. Suddenly, I saw a narrow alleyway on the left. I did a hard left in, and Blue Fiat knew he couldn't fit. I drove back to the pizza place as fast as I could. Sometimes I still spot that bright blue Fiat, and I hide, or I quickly turn into another street to avoid it as much as I can. I was a driver for Domino's, and our store was closing for the night. I was helping out with the closing duties, and had taken out half of the daily trash to the dumpster. When I came back to grab the rest of the trash, I left the side door open so that I wouldn't have to deal with the keypad with my hands full. Well, a robber decided that this was his opportunity to come in and brandish a gun in our faces. The scariest and most vivid moment for me was staring at the ugly brown tile, thinking that it would be the last thing that I would ever see. I was given a week off, but when I got back, I was still a jumpy wreck for months. About 3 weeks after that robbery, I was at a customer's door when he quickly swung his door open and pointed a pistol in my face, almost touching my forehead. He held it there for about 10 hours. 2 seconds, actually, before exclaiming that it's just a joke. I thought that you were my friends. and he showed me that it was just an airsoft pistol. I carried my pistol every single day after that robbery. The gun with the airsoft pistol was super lucky that my hands were full of pizza at that moment, or I might have just shot him.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.